You got people on the line too with you?
Yeah, all three of us are here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey. Hi, guys. Just want to say hi to all of y'all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, we wanted to talk to you again because when we talked to you the first time, we had this great plan. We were going to compare our notes. We were going to get together. We were going to retell your story on the podcast. And then afterwards, we were like, well, why are we retelling his story? Why don't we let him tell his story? So if you're
okay, fine.
Yeah, if you're good with that, I mean, I think that'll be much more entertaining, and you can probably do it a lot better than we can. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the encounter that you had with Dogman in southern Illinois.
Okay, I was, at the time I was living in Shiloh, Illinois. I was in a little mobile home park on top of a hill. You know, you had to go down the hill to get out of it. And then when you went up the hill to go up to the convenience store, upon getting to the top of the hill, on the right-hand side there was another trailer park. And next to it was a house. And across the street from the house was like a neighborhood that was on an incline. And there was like a square 1 acre retention pond, I guess, is what it was dug for. And I was coming up on the hill, I seen a dog at the one far corner. It was the northeast corner. And it was running real fast. And I was like, wow, I'm going to have to slow down so they don't run in the road in front of me. But as it got closer, it got bigger. And when it got up to my side of the road, it went up the little hill of the retention pond. And it stopped at the side of the road and it stood up. And that's when I rolled up my window in my little Toyota Tercel. It was about 3 in the morning, in the middle of, probably 94, 95. It was about 3 in the morning, 2:33 in the morning. I had to go get some more pop from a Nintendo marathon. Mm-hmm. But and I slowed down because I didn't know if I was going to jump in front of my car. And I rolled up the windows and went by slow, and it was standing taller than my car. And it was very skinny, emaciated, had a big head, big fangs drooling, and his arms were just standing there panting. His tongue was out and just panting from running. And I slowly looked, and it looked like a Hollywood prop or something. And I was looking around like, is this a joke? But no, it just watched me drive by. And then as I drove by, it ran behind my car into the adjoining property, which had a sheep farm on it. And it jumped the fence like it was nothing. And that's the last I saw of it. Then when I came back from the convenience store, even 5 minutes later on that road, I didn't see anything at all. But it seemed like everything was in slow motion when I drove by it. It's just like I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And when I got back, I told my wife and my father-in-law, and they just laughed it off. And I was like trying to tell them I'm serious. I mean, if I tell anybody the story, they just think I'm seeing things or something. I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. I saw this. I know what I saw. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't on drugs. This is, middle of the night. 4 minutes from Scott Air Force Base. 4 miles, excuse me.
Now, remember, when we talked about this before, you mentioned that it looked like a Hollywood prop or a Halloween costume or something like that. But hearing you tell it again, I mean, you got drool dripping from it. You can see the tongue coming out of it. I mean, that would be like a really next-level costume. I don't think that's the sort of thing somebody would use for a prank.
Yeah, and his face looked kind of like a bluish gray. Because I had a Halloween wolf mask kind of like that. I was like, that kind of looks like my wolf mask. But it was real. It was a real deal. I didn't want to find out.
Yeah.
And were you able to identify the color of its eyes by chance?
No, because I was just trying to like look up and down and just I don't know, just trying to. Is this real? Kind of like thinking, is this real? Am I really seeing this?
Yeah, when you see something very briefly,
comprehend it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't quite see everything, unfortunately, so I can't blame you.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd probably
comprehend.
If I were you, I probably wouldn't have got past the teeth. I mean, when I saw those, I would be pretty focused.
Yeah, basically fangs.
So I'm in like third or fourth gear, and then I'm trying to upshift so I can hurry up, and my car's just like cruising slowly. I'm like, shit.
Especially like around like 3 a.m. or something. It's so dark.
Yeah.
It must be so scary.
I had a little Toyota Tercel too, so it wasn't going to do me any good. That was back when Zelda first came out, so that's all I did all night long.
I was going to say, I seem to recall you were gaming, and you were just going out to grab some snacks or something in the middle of it.
Yeah, I ran out of Pepsi.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, not only were you not drunk, not only were you not on drugs, but you were probably a little wired. I mean, playing video games, it tends to bring your perception up a little bit. So you're probably seeing things better than most people would at 3 a.m.
Yeah, what actually is I reached like the final level, and that was like my third time, and I was like, I need to take a break and get away from this because I was getting really pissed off. So
Now, there were a couple times you mentioned seeing it running, and the one time it jumped over the fence. When it did that, was it running on all fours like a wolf or a dog, or was it on 2 legs pretty much the whole time you saw it?
when it was running, it was on all fours, and the retention pond is like in a little, maybe 3-foot little incline all around the square.
Mm-hmm.
And it got up that inclinement, and it stood up. And then as I passed it, it got back down on all fours. And that fence is probably like your standard 3-foot fence or chain link fence. And there was nothing to it. Nothing at all when it jumped over it.
Did you feel any like paranormal like forces or anything that was like casting a negative energy almost?
No, none at all.
You didn't feel. I mean, naturally you'd feel scared, but you didn't feel like an unnatural fear. It was just a fear because there was a big ugly thing next to your car.
Yeah, it's just a beast.
Okay.
I just felt like I need to get the hell out of here, and I'm trying to upshift and while I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I guess what we're trying to describe more is like a dread. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yours sounds like very much fear. But we're talking about dread. So yeah.
Have you ever shared this story with anybody else before, like on a podcast or in the news or anything like that?
No, you guys are the very first.
Okay. All right. And did you talk to any friends or anything about it after it happened? I know you said you talked to your family, but I mean, how many people do you think knew about this like right after it happened?
I talked to a few people, and they just dismissed it, and I'm just like, I don't bring it up anymore because I had one friend ask me if I'm like insane or crazy. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm just trying to tell you something I've been through, I'm not crazy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know he was a super religious guy.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking these questions is, we just heard a story about somebody who got visited by the government after a Dogman sighting.
Oh, they send it in?
Yeah, exactly. And the government came and basically said, don't talk about this. Don't go any further with this. And just because this sighting was so close to the Air Force Base, I'm thinking that if you told a few people, word must have gotten back to somebody. And I was just wondering if you ever had any odd encounters with the government after it happened.
Not at all. I didn't even get a hold of the local Shiloh, Illinois Police Department.
Okay.
But I tried looking up this, reports of stuff like it, in that town of Shiloh, but I didn't even find anything. And I was wondering if I would call them up, they'd probably think I was crazy if I, mentioned my encounter, if they had any other things with that particular sheep farm.
Yeah. They would either think that you're crazy or they'd try to convince you that they think you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my roommate did. He was like, are you insane? Are you crazy?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there are a couple other things I know we talked about last time that, we may talk about a little bit, but the main thing I wanted to do is just hear you tell that story because you tell it so well. Is there anything that you would want to share with anyone else who's ever had a sighting like this? Any words of advice or anything you'd just like to say to people who've seen a Dogman and are kind of feeling what you're feeling, that nobody's believing them?
Yes, it's horrible, No one wants to, believe, what you've seen or what you witnessed, and they've not been in your shoes, and they look at you like you're crazy, and like, no. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I've lived in the woods. I camped in the woods. I've always been in the woods. I know what I saw.
You guys have any more questions for him?
Yeah, actually I do. In the last time we talked, we actually asked this question. Did you see any fog, like, around this creature in the short amount of time?
No, I didn't, or else I wouldn't have been able to see him from that retention pond, or coming up on the hill especially, because we would have been in the fog, because I lived down, when I went down to the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, it was a valley, and across that valley there was like a cornfield or a cotton field or something, and there's Highway 64 leading to St. Louis.
Yeah, makes sense.
I asked this one last time too. I was I was wondering, have you ever seen like any like orbs or anything like next to the Dogman that may have been paranormal?
Yes, yes, I have. That was in Illinois. Oh, not Illinois. That was when I moved to Indiana, and it was during the daytime on my ceiling. And like I told you before, that's where me and my wife got it on. And we're just sitting there looking at the ceiling, and she goes, "You see that? Yeah, it looks like someone's shining a little tiny flashlight on the ceiling, and it was going back and forth." And then she told her, "When me and you we're here at peace. Please leave." And it went out the window. It went from the ceiling, on the ceiling, out the window.
And this was a few years after the Dogman sighting, right?
Yeah, and we had moved to Indiana. My in-laws retired. My father-in-law retired from Skydive Air Force Base and moved back home to Indiana. So I moved my family over there so the grandkids can be with the grandparents growing up. And I'll tell you guys, I would swear to this story with a Bible on my father's grave. There's no way this was like hallucination or a dream or anything. This is real.
Okay.
It's just like incredible event. I believe in Bigfoot, but I never heard of Dogman or would have thought about seeing a Dogman. Gee, that scared the shit out of me.
It's funny you should say that, because that seems to be a common thread. I mean, a lot of people who talk about seeing Dogman, they're not like Dogman enthusiasts. They're not people who've read a lot about Dogman or seen podcasts about Dogman or anything. They're people who literally have to look up what it was that they just saw.
Yeah.
Back then, we didn't even have internet. We'd have to call the 800 Nintendo line to get clues on Zelda. And then I never heard of Dogman. I never thought about it. Then once I got online and started, looking into like Bigfoot, encounters, I came across a Dogman, and my mouth just fell open like, holy shit.
Then at least you knew what you saw.
Yeah. And then I see some pictures, something like animated picture looking, and I was like, that's it. That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never heard of that back then.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the big arguments we always have is, people try to say that Dogman is an internet cryptid. It didn't exist until the internet came out. Well, that's because people couldn't look up what they saw until the internet came out. It's people would say they saw a werewolf or they saw, a wolf man or something. Once the internet came about, there were all these people who had seen something and were able to share their stories and put a name to it.
Yeah, and Bray Road is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
So many sightings in like the 1990s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right behind there's like my side of the road where we're at. We had like a modular home, a mobile home park, and across the street was like the dingy one. But behind us was a neighborhood, and separating us from the neighborhood was some woods.
Hmm.
And I guess right where it came out was where the mobile home park and that neighborhood split up through the woods. It came out through the woods and went into that retention area, that retention pond, which was empty at the time, and this was summertime.
And you're really close to some big rivers and some big national parks near there too, as I recall.
No, not really. The closest big river would be, I think, Carlisle Dam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a few ponds here and there, but it's mostly farmland around there.
Oh, okay. Does that strip of woods you were talking about connect to that river system at all, or is it just a small patch of woods?
No, there's no water right around us. It's just it's like a patch of woods, and then on the side of it is farmland, and then there would be, God, I forget that highway name, but it leads you right to Skydive Air Force Base.
Okay. Well, you sent us some locations on Google Maps. I think we can take a look at it. I'm always curious how a Dogman gets to that area. Is he living in that little patch of woods, or is he migrating from somewhere else?
Yeah, like the common idea is that he uses like maybe a river or some kind of like water stream to like find his way around the area.
Yeah, we can look.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, we can look at all that on maps and see if we can connect the dots anywhere.
Yeah, my old address was
Okay.
and I was but I lived in Shiloh, but we had an O'Fallon, Illinois address, and that was. And when you got down to the entrance to exit the mobile home park, if you went right within like maybe 3 acres is Interstate 64.
Okay. Do you guys have any more questions?
Oh, that was it.
Okay.